Listen, I need you to stop whatever you're doing and pay attention, because right now, this exact moment is where the people who become rich make their move. I'm not kidding. Drop the phone. Forget the distractions. This is it. I know what you're seeing out there. It's chaos. Bitcoin's down 20%, Apple's down 25%, Tesla's down 30%. It's relentless. We see things like recession or inflation or market crash screaming from every headline. People are losing it. They're selling everything and running for the hills. And panicking, like they always do. But here's the thing. That's their mistake. They're reacting emotionally and blindly, just like deer in headlights, not even realizing what's really going on. And the people who do that? They lose. Every single time. I've been in this game since 2014. That's back when Bitcoin was a few $100 and nobody took it seriously. I've seen the ups and the downs and even the gut punches. And then, I've studied the history and the decades of market swings. So trust me when I say this isn't new. You ever heard that Warren Buffett quote? Here it goes. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful, he says. And it's not just some catchy line to throw around at parties. It's the blueprint. It's the reason why the top 1% keep winning, while everyone else gets trapped in this endless cycle of fear. Right now, the masses are dumping their stocks and selling at the absolute worst time, clutching their phones, trying to wait for the bottom, like they've got a crystal ball. So what are the winners doing then? They're buying. Quietly. Confidently. They are stacking chips while the rest of the world is freaking out. So let me take you back and have a look at how this always plays out. It's 2001. The dot-com bubble bursts. Amazon stock crashes and loses 90% of its value. People start saying that it's over and that all the tech stocks are dead. No one even believes in the internet. So fast forward a couple decades and Amazon's a $1 trillion empire running half the world. Let's see another example then. So it's 2008 and the financial crisis just happened. The markets collapse and there's fear everywhere. The economy's a mess and banks are failing. And again, it feels like the end is near. But here's what actually happened. The people who had the guts to buy in 2009 made 10 times their investments over the next 10 years. I wasn't trading back then, but I've looked through the charts and read the stories. So let's go for one last and more recent example. It's March 2020 and COVID hits. So immediately, the markets plummet and there's panic selling everywhere. I was there for that one. And again, the people were convinced that we were sliding into a depression. I remember refreshing my trading app and watching Tesla drop to $50 and Bitcoin under 5K. You probably know what happened just a few months later, right? The market snapped back so hard that it hit all-time highs before anyone could blink. And now we're here again. Same red charts. Same fear choking the air. Same headlines and same panic and the same knee-jerk reactions. But just like every other time, the ones who see through the noise are the ones walking away rich. Now let me make this crystal clear. Apple didn't suddenly turn into a garbage company because its stock dropped 25%. Tesla didn't stop being a pioneer overnight. And Bitcoin didn't lose its shot at changing the world just because of a dip. But that's what the market wants you to believe. It's a trap, and it wants you scared. It wants you to sell low and to give up. And to even question the very things that have proven themselves time and time again. Take Apple. I've watched them since I got into trading. Back when it hit $300 billion, people were skeptical. Most of them thought that the company was too big and that was too risky. But then it climbs to $1 trillion, and the doubters are still spamming that it's overvalued. Then it hits $2 trillion, and guess what? More of that same nonsense. So where's Apple now? It's sitting at over $3 trillion, and still growing, and still dominating. Yet every time there's a dip like this, most people forget it all. They start selling like Apple's about to shut its doors. Are you kidding me? This is a company with products flying off the shelves and a services empire raking in billions, and even a fan base that would buy a $5,000 brick if it had that logo on it. This isn't a collapse, it's just a sale. And don't get me started on Tesla. Tesla's not just a car company. It's AI, it's robotics, it's energy, and it's self-driving tech. It's basically the future. I remember 2019 when their stock was at $50, and people were laughing it off as a fluke. And sure, it's down 30% right now. And the market's acting like Elon's packing it in. But that's all just short-sighted nonsense. Tesla's come back stronger from every single dip it's had, because it's not about today's price, but about where it's headed. The ones who zoom out and see the big picture, they're actually buying right now. They're not crying about it. And if you think this is just stocks, then you're missing half the story. Because crypto's caught in the same storm. People don't get this yet. They don't understand that when the stock market tanks, the crypto feels it too. So why is that happening? Big investors see it as a risky play when the fear hits, and they start pulling cash from both assets. This was learned the hard way in 2018, when Bitcoin crashed from 20,000 to 3,000, and I was sweating and tempted to sell. I'm glad I didn't sell though. But here's what most investors are missing. Crypto isn't just another asset, it's more like a revolution. It's a whole new system for money and ownership and even tech. And while the weak hands are dumping their coins, the big players like BlackRock and Fidelity, and basically the heaviest hitters in finance, they are quietly stacking. So why is BlackRock now pushing Bitcoin ETFs in Europe? Did you even know that they made a Bitcoin ETF? And why are billionaires buying while retail folks are panic selling? Because they're not guessing, they just know. They see the tipping point coming. They can foresee the mass adoption and clearer regulations. And that crypto went from the Wild West to the backbone of finance. I've watched this build since 2014. At first, companies started jumping on blockchain, and then countries like El Salvador started making Bitcoin legal tender. And guess what happens when that wave hits? We're not just talking Bitcoin at $100,000. We're talking a crypto market cap blasting past 5 trillion, and then 10, then even 20. It's not if, but it's when. So yeah, the stocks are down, crypto's down, everyone's terrified. But if you're seeing what I'm seeing, you're not scared, you're actually pumped. And that's not all, because Donald Trump's also shaking things up. He's put his own person in charge of the Federal Reserve, and when that happens, he'll have full control over monetary policy. We're about to see the lowest interest rates we've ever had. That means cheap money flooding the system and fueling everything. On top of that, President Trump has also slashed petrol prices, which is the main engine that drives recessions into overdrive. Lower gas means lower costs across the board. The businesses thrive, the consumers spend, and the economy keeps humming. With that combo, a recession's not just avoidable, but it's off the table. So if not a recession, then what is coming? Well, a super cycle. A massive and unstoppable boom. And the smart money's already positioning for it, and you should be too. This is where the real money gets made. So here's how you play it. I've been through enough dips to know what works. The first and most important rule is to just chill out. Just stop freaking out and stop refreshing the charts every 5 seconds. And definitely just stop trying to time the exact bottom. That's a sucker's bet, and I know because I've tried it many times, and it's a waste of energy. Instead, just look at what's on sale and start building your stack while everyone else is running scared. The second rule is to diversify smart. You don't just chuck all your cash into one thing and pray, because that's how you get burned. You need to balance it. So grab some blue chip stocks like Apple, or Tesla, or Microsoft. These are companies with muscle that'll weather this. Then mix in some crypto leaders. Think of them like this. Bitcoin's your anchor, and Ethereum's your growth engine, and Solana's your wildcard. It's like building a team where every player's got a role. I learned this in 2018 when I was too heavy on altcoins, and diversifying saved me when the rebound hit. The third rule is to lock it down. If you're in crypto, then get a hardware wallet like Ledger or Trezor or whatever really. Keep in mind that exchanges can crash. FTX taught us that the hard way in 2022. I've got buddies who lost everything because they didn't control their keys. Don't be that guy. Your private keys are your power, so keep them safe. The fourth rule is to set buy triggers and be sharp about it. Don't guess but plan. So when Apple is at $150, that's a no-brainer buy. And Tesla at $170 is another no-brainer buy. Use apps like TradingView or CoinMarketCap to set alerts and automate buys. And always stick to your gut instead of chasing the noise. I've been doing this since 2014, and just trust me, that strategy beats panic every time. And most importantly, you need to think long-term. The people who get rich aren't flipping for a quick buck in a week. They're the ones who hold through the mess, who buy when it feels shaky, and who see years ahead. Back in 2018, Ethereum was at $100 when everyone bailed, and then it hit $4,800 by 2021. That's the game. This isn't some theory I read in a book. This is precisely how the richest investors operate. Billionaires aren't selling their stocks because of some headline. Institutions aren't ditching crypto. They're actually doing the opposite, and they're doubling down. They don't panic, they don't flinch, they capitalize. So what's it gonna be? Are you selling in fear and making the same old mistake? Or are you buying while everyone else screws up? Drop your move in the comments. Are you buying Apple or Tesla or Bitcoin? Or are you buying all of them? What are you grabbing while the market's handing out discounts? I'm pinning the best answer. If this woke you up and flipped your mindset, then smash that like button and subscribe and join the crew. We've got Telegram and Discord links below. Stay greedy when others are scared. I'll see you at the top.